Welcome to a React tutorial. In this tutorial series, we are going to clone Instagram's desktop website. We are going to do it in a way that you understand all the concepts of React. After this series, you will be able to use React to develop user interfaces on your own. What is React? React is an open source front-end JavaScript library for building user interfaces or UI components. It is maintained by Facebook and a community of individual developers and companies. React can be used as a base in the development of single-page or mobile applications. React code is made of entities called components. Components can be rendered to a particular element in the DOM using the React DOM library. Another notable feature is the use of a virtual document object model, a virtual DOM in other words. React creates an in-memory data structure cache, computes the resulting differences, and then updates the browser's displayed DOM efficiently. JSX, similar in appearance to HTML. JSX provides a way to structure component rendering using syntax familiar to many developers. React components are typically written using JSX, although they do not have to be. They can be written purely in JavaScript, but that would be tedious and probably 100 times as difficult. Prerequisites. What do you need to be able to follow along this tutorial? Basically, all you need is some basic JavaScript knowledge. You have to know what objects are, what arrays are, what conditionals are, and so on. So let's get started by setting up the environments. The first thing you're going to need is Node.js. Head over to nodejs.org and download and install Node.js on your machine. I also recommend that you get developer tools. React Developer Tools allows you to inspect the React component hierarchies in the developer tools. So after you get these, open up your terminal and run npx create React app. So what we're doing here is we are using npx to run the command create React app to create an application called Instagram. You can also install create React app globally on your system, but that is not recommended. What is recommended is that you use npx. Why? npx allows us to use packages without installing them in our globals. This way we won't have to worry about pollution in the long term. So after you run this command, I'm not going to run this command because I've already done this. So after you run this command, run npm start. npm start starts our application. If you did everything right, your browser will open localhost on port 3000 automatically and display our application. So let's just wait for that to happen. We haven't changed anything yet, so it shows React's default content. So let's start editing some stuff in our application. So open it up in your text editor. I have to stop this saver first by holding Control and pressing C, and then I'm going to open this current directory in my Visual Studio. So head over to app.js and clear out everything, and let us write this function. This function will take in props which we shall talk about later on. So and then it's going to return a div element. Welcome to React. So this is what a function components of React looks like. So we're just going to run npm start. You can also use yarn. If you have yarn, you can just use yarn start. I have both, so I'm just going to use npm start, and this will open up our application in the browser, and yippee, it shows welcome to React, which means we have created our function components properly. So what has happened here? React is a single page application, meaning it interacts with the user by dynamically rewriting the current page rather than loading entire new pages from a server. The one page that is here, that it has, is this index page, which is in the public directory. So this index document has this index HTML file. Yes, this div element which is an ID of root. So we are calling this div element inside our index.js, which is in our source right here. We're doing document.get elements by ID root. So we are calling that, we are grabbing that div element, and then we are passing it in the render method of React DOM, which is imported from the top. As you can see, along with this div element, we are also passing in our app component, which we created here, which we created as a function component, and we exported it. So inside this index.js, we import our app component, and then we pass it along with the div element inside the React DOM for rendering, and then it is being rendered by the render method of the React DOM, and then displayed in the browser, as we can see. So we can also create our component as a JavaScript class simply by doing the following. So first we have to import React and components from React. Oops, I don't know what happened there. I don't know what happened. And then we just define our class app. It has to extend the React component, extends components like so. So our application is to have a render method that returns some JSX, some div right here. Welcome to React. So what is being returned here looks like HTML, but it is not HTML. It is actually JSX, which we talked about earlier. So we have to export our class as a default. Export default app, and if we open up our browser, make sure that your server is running. Mine is running right here. Open up the browser. I'm just going to hit refresh. As you can see, we have created a class component. So this is what a class components of React looks like. So we said we are going to clone Instagram's desktop website. So let's get started by creating the Nav Bar. So we're just going to open up and close some brackets in this return to make sure that it's treated as one line. Then we have to create our Nav Bar. So we're going to have Instagram as in first element of our Nav Bar, and then we're going to have an ordered list, which is going to have the following items. The first one, which is home, going to have Messenger. Actually, let me just copy and paste along this. So we have notifications, and lastly we have profile. So let's just open up our browser and see that everything is okay. So thanks for watching this tutorial. In the next tutorial we're going to look at styling, so that we make sure that our nav component looks nice and it looks a lot more like the Instagram's Nav Bar. Thanks for watching once again. See you next time.